So today is the 25th of September 2020, which can only mean one thing. After School was released by Melanie Martinez today. It wasn't even that long ago she released an album and a film to go with the album, which understandably took years to make. So I was a bit like, okay, she clearly hasn't rested. She's gone straight into making more music. I don't even know what to expect. All I know is that I'm really excited because if you've watched me for a while, you'll know that I've loved her since Crybaby, so I've been a fan for 5-6 years. I don't know how long it's been now, but I did do a K12, I guess I did like an analysis of her film. If you want to check that out, there's a link down there. I kind of briefly speak about why I like her music and get excited by her as an artist, because I just love her metaphors. I love her use of like clever imagery and like lyrical genius masterpieces where she sugarcoats really dark matters. She does it kind of ironically. She adds like creepy elements to something that looks on the surface pretty and nice. I also like how she uses sound effects to create a really catchy beat. Like she uses kind of everyday noises in a very clever and artistic way. I'm just gonna listen to her new After School EP, which she released today. She actually released it last night at midnight, but I wasn't ready to react. I mean, I could have, but I thought I'd make myself a bit more presentable today. So I'm gonna start today off by listening to The Bakery and watching the music video for that, because I feel as though that's probably the best place to start. I don't think that's the first track in the album. I keep saying album, it's EP. I don't know. I kind of want to react to like the main song. I feel like that is the main song of the EP first. I rarely like every piece that someone brings out. For me, I usually just like certain tracks from certain artists, but with Melanie, she consistently makes stuff that I feel kind of grows up with me. Like I was obsessed with Crybaby. I mean, I don't play it as much as I used to, but that's because I've like overdone it. I've like overplayed them to the point where it's ridiculous. And then so when she brought out K12, I was really nervous because I was like, her sound could go anywhere. That was only her second album. Like she could literally change her music, which she did. But I felt like her taste grew up with mine and it's kind of somehow matched in a very bizarre, weird way, and I'm very relieved and happy about that. But that's quite rare. A lot of the time, you know, you kind of have to fall out of artists that you listen to. So I'm nervous about this because what if she's changed her direction, which I fully support her in everything she wants to do, but I also want to love the music. So I'm hoping it's like fresh and refreshing. It's not the same as K12. I want something a little bit different and spicier, but I also want to still like it. I don't want it to be too different that I'm like, what the hell is this? I explained in my K12 review, it definitely felt like Crybaby had grown up. I'm wondering whether that's what she's gonna do, whether she's gonna keep working on that element for After School, because I'm assuming that Crybaby is now older and she's supposed to be going through the next stages of her life, I suppose. So graduation, when she finishes, going out into the real world, and that sort of transition, I suppose, I guess. I don't even know. I think I did mention this in my K12 review, but I didn't do a K12 reaction video of the songs, even though I wanted to, because I went to go see the movie in the cinema, and obviously the movie shows all the tracks, and that came out before the tracks officially came out for people at home, like on Spotify and stuff. So obviously I couldn't show you my reaction to the songs whilst I was watching the movie in the cinema, but I hate to sound selfish, I'm kind of glad my experience was in the cinema, like, because experiencing an album for the first time in a cinema from your favorite artist is one of the coolest feelings you'll ever experience. It's kind of cooler than a gig because like the sound system was so good, and it was like a visual experience too, as in like all these amazing colors and edits, and people were just sat down and taken in this art form. It was magical. So that's why I didn't do a reaction of that. So I'm glad I'm here today doing an After School EP reaction. But regardless of whether it's Crybaby first album, K12 second album, or this EP, she speaks about situations in life that aren't necessarily pointing to that era, if that makes sense. So in K12, the school album, she doesn't just talk about school issues, she talks about just life issues in general. Like The Principal, for example, that's about politics. So I'm excited to see what sort of issues she brings up and what she feels what she wants to talk about and express. Art excites me. I think the bakery is supposed to be where she is working some sort of like first job or something like that. I don't know. Oh my god, I've got butterflies. Why am I nervous? This is stupid. Of course, pastel. Ah, bunny. Sorry, her outfit. I'm dying over her outfit. I just paused on her little ass cheeks. I need to open a window up in here. Look how cute she looks. Sorry, it's not about that. It's music. It's the music. I love that, like, I'm really bad with the kind of technical terms when it comes to music. The draw, like the pull before the bakery comes in. Oh, I love that little ending. The little la la la. It sounds really creepy but cute at the same time. See, the impression I get with this song is a little bit like show and tell / detention, where she sort of plays with the idea of doing things to please other people, working to please others, but then the sort of vibe I get from the music video, there's less like anger behind the song than I thought there would be, if that makes any sense. Not that I wanted there to be, I just thought that was where it was going. She totally just seems to be enjoying the process of working at the bakery more than I thought she was going to. I love it when she's in the oven and she's sort of like, you can see her like blowing of her mouth as she's rising. I also love the really clever metaphors behind, it ain't for me to roll it out, it's just for me to raise the dough. Basically saying like she doesn't intend to be there for long, she's just doing this thing because she's got to make some money, because she wants to, I don't know, chase her real dreams, do whatever she actually wants to do. And obviously she's working in a bakery, so she's dealing with dough, money, cute things like that. I like it. Ugh. I'm getting the same sort of, oh my god, am I getting emotional? This is lame. I'm getting the same sort of feelings that I got when I watched K-12 at the cinema, and I was just like, it's like a weird feeling of like overwhelming because you love it so much, but also proud as fuck. I don't know if the woman at the end is supposed to be her boss or some kind, because she mentions Mother Mary in the lyrics, and then you see this lady with like all these crosses on the wall, and she ends up eating Melanie, as it's like, it's kind of like dead-end jobs, representing dead-end jobs and doing things until you're sort of burnt out just because you want to make money, but there's no like passion behind it. It's like robotic and it just runs you dry, and I like the idea of that. Particularly when you come out of high school and you're just doing things because that's what's on offer. But of course she picks a bloody bakery. It's Melanie. What else is she gonna pick? Let's do this in the order that they are in the EP. So Notebook comes first. I'm gonna be kind of ranking these as well. I'll be telling you what I think's best down to least, even though they'll all be okay, I'm sorry, I'm gonna be annoying and keep pausing. I love the intro of that, like I can't even work out what those noises are yet, but I'll have to listen to it again. ASMR vibes. Ooh, the way she sung Time. Ooh. She. Ooh. I love the backing music for that. Like most of that song was, the rhythm of it was just going by her voice, if that makes sense. Like there wasn't necessarily a massive catchy part of that song. It was all about the words for me. The rhythm of the song was basically the way she was singing the words. But I'm also pissed. I'm mad. Crybaby's lost her virginity to a guy who's a dick, and I'm not happy about it. He's not looking after my girl. That was kind of like a diss track to all the fucker boys out there. I still prefer the bakery so far, and that can only mean next up we have Test Me. So is this when she's gonna beat this guy up? Because if she's not gonna do it, that's my job. Okay, loving this. I don't know what that was or what is happening, but I'm loving it. Wow. I didn't pause that song the whole way through because I was like feeling it. I was like taking it in more than the others because it sounded so different to Melanie's normal singing style. Her voice is usually quite soft and sweet, childish. I don't like using the word childish because that makes it sound like it's a bad thing. This sounds quite like mature and like stronger, but not too strong because obviously that's not her style, like a really super booming voice. But this gives me like Judgment Day sort of vibes. I see Crybaby like in front of someone who is supposed to be judging her for something she's done, or it gives me the feeling someone might have when doing something that goes against their religion or something that they believe is right or wrong, depending on maybe what they've been brought up being told. If we talk about this literally in the sense of from hearing Notebook beforehand, I'm wondering whether this is literally to do with her losing her like innocence as a child, losing her purity. I keep talking about virginity in this video. I know that's a really weird thing to keep mentioning, but Melanie loves creating stories and linking her tracks together to make sense as you listen to them, as you go through them all. And to me, I can't help but feel like she's feeling maybe guilt and she's learned her lessons from things that she's done, from mistakes that she's made. I don't necessarily say actually there's regret with this song. It's more that she feels that you're supposed to be doing things that give you lessons to learn, and she would rather be judged and tested by people who understand that. K12 being a very feminine, strong, female empowering album and movie, I'm getting the same vibes here. She's addressing God at the beginning, but she's saying she would rather be tested and judged by goddesses, those that understand her side of the story. The pace of this song, it was just very like, oh, the church bells, like linking at like religion. Oh, I've only just twigged that. What an idiot. I just feel like the music video for this song could be potentially really epic. Like I imagine like a big devil standing there at church, just like telling her off. She's added like a darkness to that. I would actually say this is probably nearly going to be my favorite. It's on par with Bakery. Okay, next one, Brain and Heart. This song sounds so much like Piggyback. I don't know how many of you guys heard the song that Melanie released after she was accused of terrible things. And there was even a lyric that sounded the same when she said take advantage, and it was she said it the same way as it said in in Piggyback. Someone in the comments has literally said the same thing. Does this remind anyone else of her unreleased song Piggyback? Someone said, but to me Piggyback makes no sense. Well, I think Piggyback makes more sense than this song personally. Once again, the kind of pace sounds very similar to the previous song. I feel as though this EP is more lyrically focused rather than the Bakery vibes of a catchy beat, a catchy chorus, something that you can like jam to. And I feel like the Bakery will do really well in the mainstream industry, and I feel like most people would probably like the Bakery the most. But I do feel like the other songs are more so for people who want to appreciate the messages and things that Melanie's trying to express as a storyteller. When did humans start to separate brain and heart as if they could stay alive alone? Flip it around the other way. If they were apart, only a shell remains. I might have this wrong, but this is my first impression. Right now, what I'm feeling like is she's saying that there shouldn't be a this or that. That's the way I'm interpreting this. Like, you should be using both, because if you use one side, you get in trouble. The other side, you can get in trouble, and you can be illogical and use your heart. Is that right? Or is that just coming from how I feel about it? Because that's the way I've always felt about it. I've never felt that the advice of literally only going by your heart is necessarily the best thing, because I've done that before and it's got me in terrible sticky situations. So sometimes you've got to use your head. Interesting. I like that though. I do like that. Numbers is next. Oh, tap in. Melanie's angry. Why should I try to conform to formulated past? All my instincts like there's something magical. All of these songs are making me imagine someone who's deciding on their pathway. They get thrown out of school, like they finish school, and they're like, where do I go? What do I believe in? Who do I listen to? Who do I vibe with? She's also said at the beginning of this song, and she said in the last song, she doesn't like following by formulated, and in the last song she said calculated, when clearly all my instincts led to something more magical. It just sounds as though she is deciding she's like a creative, she wants to go on like a creative route. She's more of a creative human being. This could even be being more like spiritually inclined, I'm feeling. Oh. Take me to Venus, ready to pop like a volcano. Emotions on 100,000, who's gonna shake me like soda? Cream, but of course, what happens? Leave me alone on my own concoction. This expansion comes first, but not just my material. I like the fact she's talking about how like everyone's so focused in what's going on in here, like in such a small condensed space, but she like just wants to expand and grow, and she feels like, why aren't we talking about things that aren't materialistic and the things that matter more, like the bigger picture? Once again, I'm getting the feeling of she's opening up spiritually. I'm getting like religious vibes again. That bit gave me feelings of her like becoming some sort of like robot shutting down. I wouldn't be surprised if this EP ends with her just like breaking free from this robotic life that she's found outside of school and this very cookie cutter world that she's been asked to put herself into, and she's like, no thank you, I'm just gonna become a freaking alien and do my own shit. I wondered whether her sound was going to be a more like matured, grown-up version of her other stuff, and I feel like you can hear that with her singing. It sounds less soft, and it's got more kind of strength behind it, and I'm feeling that with the stuff she's singing, and it sounds almost aggressive in a little way. I feel like this Numbers is a bit more ballsy and risky with some of the stuff she's done with it, because it does feel different to her and also a little bit unusual, stuff that I haven't really heard in a song before. I wouldn't necessarily say this is my favourite one. Lyrically, this gives me Principal vibes from K-12, but I feel this is on a more religious route, and I feel like the potential to pageantry, my solid golden path, to this I hope my future is a mile clairvoyant. There's no controlling the imagination on ascend. She's breaking free from maybe her upbringing. She wants to maybe ascend to some journey of like awareness and spiritualism and consciousness, I suppose. I get the feeling this is where this is all going, but we shall see. Oh, the bridge was very interesting for this song. I'm not 100% sure whether I like it or not. It's cool, it's like different, it's unique. She sort of sounds like some sort of like old broken toy from the 80s that's like dying. Just words like, they lack the tenderness of the sensitive, empathetic, but he's crying from the pain. It's too late to grow their fame. It's once again that principle of people just wanting to build for themselves, build a platform for themselves and have all these little minions run around for them, when really everyone should be working on their own self, their own growth, developing on their own journey and story and what they want to actually do, build themselves up rather than working for the big man all the time. Watch us buy material and talking about in here, all my intuition says is expansion comes first. I guess it's that like brainwashing that the media does. It makes us feel like we need more stuff to improve in on ourselves, and really that's not the point of living. We're kind of hurting ourselves by doing that because we're becoming a slave to the system. Like, we're part of the problem if we're the ones who are like materialistic human beings, and we're getting more and more that way. But then we have to work for the big boss who lets that system work in his favor by filling up his pockets. But we're just as bad if we're going to be the ones who also bow down to that way of life. And it's just interesting. Okay, I'm gonna move on to the next one now. Glued. There is 2 left that I haven't heard. I got goosebumps. I hate to sound like a fucking simpy little fangirl. This song touches me. I need a break. I know it's that I probably look like I'm being really dramatic right now. The words to this song, I just really feel this song. Okay, I mean, there's no question about it. The reason why I got into Melanie is because, and I hate to sound cliche, but she worded things in certain songs. I just resonated with a lot of the stuff she said. I'm very much a believer in star signs, and I'm a Cancer, so I feel very deeply. I'm very like attached to the home life and family life. So obviously Crybaby, I understood so much on like an emotional level, because I've always said if Crybaby had a star sign, it would be Taurus. I just get that impression really strongly every time I listen to Melanie's music. There'll be like songs she releases and it will just like hit me like a ton of bricks. Some of the stuff she comes out with, I feel bad for people who haven't heard a song yet that they can feel and connect with lyrically on a really, pinpoint level, because it's such a nice feeling to know that you've got that. You've not written the words, you've not made the song, so when it comes from someone else it feels better. I'm gonna shut up and listen to the rest of the song and try not to get emotional. It's okay to feel too much sometimes, to feel the feels, because it would be boring if we didn't feel anything at all. And sometimes it's necessary to do the things that are scary, because otherwise you just would be this useless, lifeless blob not doing anything. Praise the Lord and God bless my soul. When I go and see this song live, I'm gonna die. It's more like a mental health thing, and like the way my brain and my mind works and stuff gets me down sometimes, and this song captures that really well. Sometimes it's too much, empty but no hurting. That's probably one of my favorite lyrics of the whole EP. I don't want to think about the morbid parts of life no more. Those words go through my head on a daily basis anyway. I like that she also mentions, I'm seeing of what I wish to be achieving, the old idea of me is glued up, sometimes it's too much. I'm fucked up and clueless. To be so stuck in the past, old ideas, the old you, and ironically that's the thing that makes you think morbidly when you are so much in the past, because it stops you from propelling forward and moving forward and pushing and becoming the best person that you are now and living in the present. I love the way she says being sticky stuck, glue all those habits shut. I mean, it sounds nice to hear, like the sticky stuck, but then it sounds kind of like immature and cute and childlike in the sense of patterns that I picked up from the environment since a baby. So she's talking about things that have always been the case for her as a child, and all of those negatives, they become avoided when you found a connection with someone that helps you breathe life back into yourself again, who understands it. And that's what a relationship should be. Do you know what I'm getting at here? And I know what that feels like, to want to just run away from that and avoid it altogether because it seems too much stress than it's worth, and you hate the idea of things potentially going the way that your morbid brain takes them to go. Like at one point I wanted to avoid relationships altogether because the idea of losing them, even if it's through something like death, would petrify me as a kid. And how crazy is that to think as a small child? Like, what the hell was wrong with me? But that was something that I always thought, like, imagine bonding with someone so much and getting on with them for so long, so many years, and then losing them. I was already thinking about like the bad ending result of that, when really I was missing the in-between, like the living part, the bits that it would make it worth doing. And that's what I feel like this song's about. Life would be boring, empty, but no hurting, because it's necessary to touch when it's scary. Hey! I feel as though in the middle of this EP she got angry and defensive and like stressed out about the real world and college and what life is like when you are an adult. Oh, that's interesting actually, because what I said earlier when I listened to The Bakery first, I said that I was expecting that song to be quite an angry song and like aggressive towards society and her kind of work life and that sort of system she has to be ruled by, but she didn't really give off that impression. That is the last song on the EP, so I'm like, that might have been intentional. She's like matured and grown up and understood. It's weird how I had goosebumps when this song started and I hadn't even heard what it was about yet, and then when I heard what it was about, that's when I lost my shit. I'm gonna have to listen to this again because I loved it. This is a love song, but it's more someone she's vibed with on a healthy level in comparison to the first track of this EP, which, by the way, thinking back at that now, our introduction was her becoming quote unquote a woman, you know, losing your virginity, becoming an adult, as it were. I don't know if that was intentional, but I like how that was the way she sort of introduced adulthood for this EP. Field trip. I wonder what field trip will be about. Ooh. Class fight vibes. Sorry, but what did I tell you? I called this shit. This is where it's going. I knew it. Ah, yeah. She's like, bye bitches, I'm writing my own path. I thought K-12 was a journey of discovery, but this is actually a journey of discovery. I feel like she's like pushed the bar even higher. She's like, ooh. Felt that lyric. You always say you're woke, it's your aesthetic, but is your empathy actually authentic? It's more like trendy to have that woke vibe these days. Like, people say they're woke and conscious and empathetic, but like, I feel as though it's losing meaning because a lot of people don't even know what that actually truly means to be like conscious and aware. Yes! She literally says she's a Taurus sun. I'm sorry, bitch, but hand me a trophy. Once again, it's that progression of realizing what actually matters, like where your priorities are at, moving away from materialistic. Like Crybaby album was all about the material world, like the things she can touch, feel, hold, the things around her physically. And as the tracks have just gone on, she's gone into some sort of spiritual dimension. And that gets me so excited for what's to come after School. I have a feeling her tracks are going to get seriously weird in the best way possible. Also, the music videos for these songs are going to be fabuloso. So, like I said, she has walked on her own. She will walk on her own path, and she does walk on her own path. In conclusion, I don't know what my conclusion is. A big part of why I like Melanie is because, not just because I like listening to her, but because I understand her. I know that sounds cringe. In artwork, it's really important to understand how someone wants to come across, because you can't just see it surface level. You've got to really feel it, you know, and I felt it. For me, it felt more like I was being told a story. It didn't necessarily leave me remembering catchy lines and choruses. Like I didn't feel as though each song had something massively different from the rest. The Bakery and Test Me were the most memorable. It's gonna have to be The Bakery first, and then it's gonna have to be Test Me, then Glued, Field Trip, Brain and Heart, Numbers. I feel like that's my order. I will probably change my mind. I really enjoyed this. What a magical EP. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoy Melanie content, I'm happy to make more. I'm even tempted to do some makeup looks quite soon, inspired by the lovely lady herself. And thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this, you can subscribe to be notified every time I make a brand new video. I'm on social media such as Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. I probably talk a lot about her on there. I have tarot readings if you want to book one of those to find out if you'll ever marry Melanie. Just kidding, you won't. I will. Like this video if you enjoyed this, to let me know to make more, and I will see you guys for my next video. Thank you very much for watching. I'm so happy. I'm gonna go listen to it all now. Bye.